Welcome to the Full Bottle, kept fresh by ChillSafe. Growers, the time for change is now. Ask your packers to stop the waste with ChillSafe, the simple, proven solution to safeguard the quality of your harvested crop. Don't watch your profits waste away. Actively protect them with ChillSafe. Sold in Australia by EE Muir & Sons.
The views expressed on this episode, as with all episodes of the podcast, are purely host opinions. The content on this podcast should not be taken as indisputable fact. This podcast is for entertainment purposes only.
Hello and welcome to the Full Bottle Podcast, a citrus industry podcast, which of course is named after the slang term for being well-informed and enthusiastic, because that's what we bring to each episode of the Full Bottle. I'm your host, Matt Jones, a country boy turned Big Smoke journalist, currently working as the Media and Communications Manager at Citrus Australia.
And I'm your host, Gabby Torpy, your millennial/Gen Z Al Woods of the citrus industry, but also the Media and Communications Officer at Citrus Australia, bringing you a bit of everything to do with comms.
On the last Monday of each month, you're going to hear us interview a wide range of experts covering topics relevant to the citrus industry. We'll be bringing you updates on important research and development projects, along with the latest technology and innovation across the sector. We're also getting to know a little bit more about the people that keep the Australian citrus industry a world leader.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us in 2024.
It's great to be back for another year, Gabby, and it's shaping up to be a big one here at Citrus Australia and for the team here at the Full Bottle Podcast.
Certainly is, Matt. I've been doing this podcast thing for over 21 months now, since this is episode 20, and I've not missed an episode yet. 4 more months, and I'll have been doing this podcast for 2 years, which is really weird. But it also means the podcast has been going for almost 2 years now. If you've been listening to the podcast the whole time, thank you very much for your dedication. If you're joining us for this episode for the first time, well, you've joined us at a good time, because we're going to go over what to expect from the Full Bottle Podcast in 2024.
Absolutely, Gabby. And as we've already hinted, there's some new and exciting things to come over the next 12 months. So let's start with what's staying the same. We'll continue to deliver conversations with a wide range of experts on topics that interest Australian citrus growers and the wider citrus industry. That's our bread and butter. That's what we're going to continue to do. As for what's new, you may have noticed at the top of this episode that ChillSafe has joined us as the official partner of the Full Bottle Podcast. Now, ChillSafe have also signed on as a corporate sponsor of Citrus Australia, so we'd like to thank them and all of our corporate sponsors at this point for the ongoing support they offer to our company. We'll have some more information on ChillSafe over the coming episodes of the podcast, but if you're interested in this innovative solution, I encourage you to click the link in the show notes below.
Something else new in 2024 is the Australian Citrus Congress, which is taking place at the Novotel Sunshine Coast Resort from the 5th to 7th of March. Don't know if anyone went to our Citrus Technical Forum in 2022, but it was at the same venue and it was very lovely. I'm happy to say we'll be recording interviews with keynote speakers, delegates, exhibitors, and event partners while you're up in Queensland in a couple of months' time. But if you haven't done so already, I encourage you to head over to the official Australian Citrus Congress website and take a look at what's in store for this event. The link will also be in the show notes.
Absolutely, Gabs. I've already got my budgie smugglers and my faked hand pack ready for a few days on the sunny coast. That's a thought for you there.
We want to sell tickets, Matt.
Fair enough. Now, in 2024, we're also going to place a greater focus on developing content based on industry research and development projects being delivered under the Citrus Levy, meaning our grower listeners will be able to hear more about where their levy funds are being invested. We'd really like to hear from our audience on which R&D topics and or projects are most interesting to you, so we can plan our interview schedule accordingly. Now, we encourage you to let us know via the Discord for this episode, below, again, where you're listening to us right now, no matter which platform you're on. So just pop a note in the chat function and we'll we'll endeavour to read all of those and touch base with you and develop content based on what you want to hear. In summary, though, we're hoping to deliver a slightly more professional edge to the podcast in 2024 while still having plenty of fun at the same time.
You might have also noticed the podcast looks a bit different as well. We've changed the logo. It's white, not yellow, and the font a little bit, just so the appearance of the podcast matches some of the changes internally. Just look for the orange bottle or the Citrus Australia logo. Now is a good time to remind listeners how the Citrus Levy works, since a lot of the things we talk about on here are a result of that levy. There's lots of levies out there, but the Citrus Levy was first introduced in 1988. To oversimplify the process, levies are raised by, in this case, commercial citrus growers through the production of their product, being citrus. An amount of money made through producing that citrus gets taken away and collected by the Australian government. Hort Innovation and Plant Health Australia are responsible for the expenditure of that citrus levy. Hort Innovations then has the responsibility to work with each horticulture industry to make strategic investments in R&D and marketing programs specific to the needs and the priorities. That was very copied and pasted, everyone. But of course, with consultation and advice from the industry. And that's where Citrus Australia comes into it.
Absolutely, Gab. And as we've already touched on, part of the levy money is used to fund R&D projects, which are carried out by a range of contracted service providers, including Citrus Australia. Now, at Citrus Australia, we participate in a competitive tender process to win the respective contracts we manage. We only apply for projects that we feel we're best placed to manage and deliver. This is why we rely on membership fees to conceptualize, secure, and deliver these projects. The membership fees allow us to provide a stable business structure, a regionally based office, skilled staff, and a board with oversight on 11 committees, enabling a fair representation of industry.
Now, just because you pay a citrus levy does not mean you are a member of Citrus Australia. However, things like this podcast, the Australian Citrus News magazine, and the Citrus e-news emails are all communications available to the levy-paying citrus grower without needing a membership. There's a really awesome Q&A on our website answering some questions about the difference between the two. I'll put that link in the podcast description.
And if you want to see how your levy money is being spent, you can visit the Citrus Levy page on the Hort Innovation website. No prize for guessing, but we've included that link in the show notes below too. Or you can listen to this podcast, read our magazine, and or follow our other communications channels to stay up to date. Again, we really encourage you to touch base with us via the episode notes below or the Citrus Australia Communications Department email address. We want to hear what you want to hear. Our email address for the comms department is simply communications@citrusaustralia.com.au.
So if it's the beginning of the month and you're listening to this thinking, you know what, I want to hear about the best pruning equipment or the latest organic solutions to common pests, you know we'll do our best to find the answers and get someone on here to talk about it.
Now, the Full Bottle podcast has over 3,000 downloads with 19 episodes released since 2022, Gab, as you mentioned at the start of the episode. You can listen to it on 7 different streaming apps or platforms, including the Podbean website or on our Citrus Australia YouTube channel. We want to thank all of our followers across these platforms. And if you're tuning in for the first time, please do us a solid and like, share, and subscribe.
We're excited for what waits in the year ahead, and we hope you enjoy the podcast in 2024.
Once again, I'm your host, Matt.
And I'm Gabby.
Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next month. Thanks for listening to another episode of the Full Bottle Podcast. If you like this episode and or any of our previous episodes, make sure to hit subscribe or follow now. Tell your friends and family about the podcast, or you can follow Citrus Australia on social media and give our posts a like and share.
If you would like to hear about a topic or person or leave feedback on the podcast, get in touch. There's a link in the podcast description. Remember, our next episode will be on the last Monday of the month. Be sure to tune in, but in the meantime, keep it juicy.
You.